IGT, baby.
What's cracking, y'all? It's your boy Drinking Mafia coming back to you with another video. So we got to talk about what happened on Monday Night Raw. And man, this was very solid. I definitely enjoyed the show and was looking forward to it because we had a lot of questions that we had to unpack, after what happened this Saturday or last Saturday on Survivor Series War Games. And, a lot of questions need to be answered. Who was behind the black hoodie and all this stuff that attacked CM Punk and all that. So we was all interested in what was going on. So, we thought we was going to get answers today on the show, but unfortunately we didn't. So I think they're going to hold off on it until probably January 5th. And I'll talk more about that as we go through the show. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So we had Charlotte we had Io and Rhea Ripley to kick off the show, coming off their big win in the War Games match against Becky and her team. So they're coming out there very excited, for getting the win and all, but they turn their attentions on to the Kabuki Warriors and looking to get the tag team championships. So in the midst of that, Charlotte and Alexa Bliss ends up coming out there, and they were saying like, well, we appreciate y'all for helping us win the match and all that. And I heard that y'all want to go after the Kabuki Warriors for the Women's World Tag Team Championships, but y'all gonna have to wait behind us because we're looking to get that back. So of course, Rhea and Io, they definitely not having it at all. And even Charlotte and Rhea started going at it again. So, things was about to pick up with them as well. So, they end up doing a tag team match, which was going to be the main event tonight. And, that pretty much was going to determine who was going to be, next to face the Kabuki Warriors for the Women's World Tag Team Champions. So there was that. Throughout the show, you had the Judgment Day come out there, with Dom and the rest of them, and then you had Liv Morgan come out there too, and she pretty much was, explaining for her being at Survivor Series and helping Dom out to defeat John Cena and for him to become the new IC champion, and then brings up that now with her back in the mix, like Judgment Day is back to running things, blase. But one thing I had to pay close attention to when she did arrive to the arena, it's like she didn't really give that much attention to Roxanne Perez. And that also started to plant some seeds because, with her being inserted into the Judgment Day while Liv was out, there was a lot of frictions there. So, in the midst of that, it seemed like it was all cool, all that stuff. And she even had an encounter with Stephanie Valkyria backstage when she was talking to Jackie Redmond and all that, and was letting me know, like, yeah, I'm coming back for that Women's World Championship, so be prepared for it. So we're going to get that cooking up real soon, so I can't wait for that and see how that whole thing goes down, all of that. I definitely want to talk about some of the matches we had. So for John Cena retirement tournament, we had Jey Uso taking on LA Knight. And my God, that was a very good match. Definitely enjoyed it from start to finish. It was a little bit of a slow pace, to begin it, but they started picking up towards the middle of the match and of course towards the end of it. So just like when things was going Jay's way, he ended up connecting a super kick to a spear and went up there to do the Uso splash, connects it, and at that point we're thinking he's gonna pin LA Knight until LA Knight was able to reverse it, and he was able to pin Jay for the 1, 2, and 3. So he ends up winning the match and going into advance, against the winner of Solo versus Gunther. So afterwards, you see Jay just sitting in the corner and he's not moving whatsoever, but he is just pissed after everything went down. You already know he was upset after losing the War Games. And then the fact that he just lost his match to LA Knight at that, he was just all in his head and like just questioning himself and all, then proceed to crash the fuck out. He throwing the prime hydration station all over the place and all that, tearing up the announce table and all that stuff. And he just looked livid. And I like where they're going with this because you can tell that now they're starting to cook up to potentially turn Jay heel. And what better more than to do that now? After everything transpired, you know it's bound to happen without a shadow of a doubt. They cut to later on in the show, and I believe Jackie Redmond was trying to talk to Jay, and he's just completely ignoring her, and she's just asking the questions like, what happened, in that ring earlier, with the loss, and afterwards, blah, blah, and he's just ignoring her. And she's saying like, Jackie, like, this is me, this is Jackie, like, we cool. I'm wondering what's going on. And Jay kept it simple. He said, at this point, I don't want to talk to anybody. And, and whoever I got problems with, better stay out of my way. And he said, Roman brought this up last week saying that the title looked better on him. And he's end up saying, well, maybe it don't look good on me. So this is Jay getting in his head, and for sure that when he do have that encounter with Jimmy or anybody like that, he's gonna be on crash out mode. So I definitely can't wait to see what turns out there, but I think he needed a change of his character. Like, I love him as a babyface and all that stuff. It's cool and all, but I felt like him and this whole yeet dance and all that shit is starting to really cast away of any bit of momentum he has. You feel me? So I think now he just need a change up. And if you keep him on his pathway and just have him be on go mode anytime somebody say something stupid and he snaps, chef kiss. They could deliver on that. So I hope they pay close attention to it and really, really build up on that. So there's that. Then we had the match for the John Cena retirement tournament, a Solo taking on Gunther. And this match didn't make any sense, but for for Penta being legit hurt in his match with Solo, that was the only reason why they had to pull the trigger. Now, reports were saying that Solo was supposed to win that match regardless. So, I found it strange having two heels go at it, but this was a heavy hitting match. Like, Solo definitely held his own against Gunther, doing crazy moves and all that to try to get the win. Gunther with him hitting his knife edge chops and consistent power bombs and all the stuff, that's all you saw in this matchup. But with Solo, he's able to hit the Uranagi multiple times, trying to get the Samoan spike, all those things. So it was very interesting. And towards the tail end of it, when the match, when the ref was pretty much busy with Solo and all that because of the turnbuckle situation when he took off the pad. And he's arguing with that. When Gunther got out the ring, he was dealing with Tom Latanga. And he ended up big booing him and all that stuff. He even told Solo, yo, come get him right now. So Solo about to get him. They about to set up for the Samoan spike. But the ref sees him. He said, yo, I thought you, like, what was going on here? Blah, 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 blah. So he took his eye off the ball. And that was Gunther's advantage to big boot Solo. And he low blows Tom Latanga. So he gets Solo. He slams his thumb that he used for the Samoan spike, gets him into the ring. And as that's happening and the ref not paying attention, Gunther proceeds to kick Solo in the nuts, power bombs him for the 1, for the 2, for the 3, and now he advances to face LA Knight in the finals to determine who faces John Cena next week. And then they come out there and they meet face to face in the middle of the ring, and I loved it because you know for a fact that match is going to cook up this Friday on SmackDown. Definitely looking forward to that. And it's going to be tough to see who actually going to win. You know, it's really up for grabs. I feel like either man who wins this is going to solidify themselves. But needless to say, I really want LA Knight to win, but I think Gunther going to get it. But they're going to have plans for LA down the line. So I'm looking forward. It was very interesting and enjoyed it for what it was. Now, we got to get to everything with the Vision. So earlier in the show, you had Paul Heyman, Bronson Reed, Bron Breakker. They all meet up with Adam Pearce. And Adam Pearce, he already livid about what happened at War Games and all that. Even tell Paul Heyman, was you behind that that guy in the black hoodie, you know, that pretty much helped y'all out getting the win and all that stuff. Paul Heyman said, I had nothing to do with that. I don't know who that was. All of that stuff. But he said, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about one person right here who actually pinned the World Heavyweight Champion and, you know, thinking that he deserves a World Heavyweight Championship. So he tell my peers, go in my office, go in your office, let's talk. So later on in the show, you have the Vision come out there. You know, Paul Heyman gets on the mic and he pretty much congratulating Brock Lesnar, you know, for helping out with the win as well. Even everybody in the ring, you know, he starts to thank, you know, each member on it. Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Bron Breakker. So in the midst of all of that, Bron Breakker, he's just fired up. He's excited about the win, but he didn't give a damn about that at that point. Grabs the mic and he says, like, I'm real, like, fired up, not because of the place I'm in right now. I'm just pissed because me pinning CM Punk, you know, I thought I had to, like, really go out of my bag and, you know, really tap into that dark place where I had to really put him down in order to do so. But he felt like it was too easy to do it, you know, in War Games. And even brings up that, you know, this CM Punk right here that, you know, I watched him, like, you know, growing up and all that, and how much, like, he did for the company and all that stuff, and thinking, like he's a legend, somebody that I gotta take serious and all, and he just called them a punk ass bitch or a soft ass bitch, to put it that way, and pretty much downplays him and all that stuff. Then he even brings up Seth Rollins, calling him a narcissist and saying that, you know, the war that you got to be dealing with now is in your own house with your wife, you know, for her being a bigger star than you. So he is just on full crash out mode and just letting it all out there. Then brings up about what CM Punk, that, which I remember. Yeah, just mentioning how come December 5th, I believe at Barclays, when they had a title match and all that he just gonna pretty much destroy him, you know, any way, shape, or form. And even mentions that last year, he brought up about when he had an encounter with Punk, and he was saying, like, you know, you definitely a dope ass wrestler and all that, but come back when you can cut a promo and all that stuff. And Bron Breakker rebuttals that and says, well, whoop-de-doo, or la-di-da, put it that way, and says, here's me cutting a promo on you right now. Then I'm going to beat your ass when we, like, one-on-one in the ring for the title and prove to you that while I'm the badass, you know, in WWE, in the best in the world and all that stuff. So I can say this right now, that was his best promo, without a shadow of a doubt. And this is what it feels like when you take the chains off of Bron Breakker and let him do his thing. It's good for Paul Heyman to be his mouthpiece and all that, but for Bron Breakker to really step up and show out the way he did, man, listen, he gonna put asses in seats. That's how good of a talent he really is. And tonight should show you that without a doubt. So I'm definitely looking forward to the encounters between him and Punk as well. Like, that's going to be so interesting and looking forward to it. So when I was done, we're going to cut to the main event. So we had Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss taking on Rhea and Io. So match was interesting. Definitely enjoyed it here and there and all. But in due time there was going to be some interference, especially with the Kabuki Warriors and all. I do want to mention this too. Early in the show, that you saw Lyra Valkyria and Bayley walking, and Asuka and Kairi Sane end up being there, and how Asuka was pissed because she felt like without Bayley being in the match to assist them, they lost it, calling her a loser, and how you just continue to just be bottom level trash because I'm a champion, you're not, just downplaying it, so to speak. So Bayley don't give a damn about that, and you knew that was gonna play a focal point till later on in the show. So as the match getting towards the end, you start to see Asuka and Kairi Sane come out there and of course try to interfere with the match. So as that whole thing going on, Lyra Valkyria and Bayley comes out. So they all just pretty much clashing with each other, so to speak. And Lyra Valkyria, she was on the announce table, and it looked like she's about to do a maneuver on Kairi Sane. Out of nowhere, you start to see Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Roxanne Perez come out there and pretty much try to clean house and pretty much packing everybody up. So as that's happening, and they pretty much got everybody out the ring, you see Raquel picks up Roxanne Perez pick up the Women's World Tag Team Championships, pass it into Raquel, and at first when she had it up and she saw Liv Morgan go into the ring, she was very hesitant, but decided to pass it to Liv. And Liv said, nah, you keep it. And let it be known, we're going to take over this shit. We're going to have gold around our waist and all that. And Liv going to eye for the Women's World Championship. So that's going to be interesting to see, only because we know Raquel is supposed to get her match with Stephanie Valkyrie down the line. And Liv is eyeing that. So there may be a clash between the two, slowly but surely. So I feel like they're going to really cook up with that. And I'm definitely looking forward to it when that time comes. But overall, this was a solid show. If I had to give it a rating, I'd give it about a 7 out of 10. I definitely enjoyed it and all that for what's to come. Before I leave out of here, I do want to mention this. There was a tag team match for the World Tag Team Championships. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee taking on the New Day, and it was a spot where Kofi Kingston was on the ring ropes, and he's leaning there, and you see Dragon Lee go on the top rope, and he hits the stomp onto Kofi Kingston's back, and he kind of bounced off the ropes and landed on AJ. AJ was able to grab him and put him in a Styles Clash, which I think was a very, very good spot. I love that spot. It was picture perfect, and they nailed it. You had Dragon Lee flying out the ring, towards Xavier Woods and Grayson Waller. So that was interesting. Definitely enjoyed it. And of course, Dragon Lee and AJ was going to retain their titles and all that stuff. So I just wanted to bring that up before I closed out the video. But yeah, definitely enjoyed it. Comment down below. Let me know what was your favorite part of Monday Night Raw. What would you rate it? And who do you think is really behind, that the guy in the black hoodie? Because a lot of people, I guess, going to assume it's Seth Rollins. You see a lot of certain people name dropping Seth Rollins and all that stuff. Some people thinking that it could be Austin Theory. And also, I like how they keeping this a mystery. And when the reveal do happen, you know, it becomes very shocking, you know, to all of us. So we'll see what go down. But yeah, comment down below. Let me know how y'all feel about the show. Was you rated and all that stuff? And most importantly, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell so you get notified every time I drop content right here on this channel. And I appreciate your love and support. Roll to 200 subscribers. Continue to keep God first. Trust the process of anything that you do in life. Your time will come. And I'm going to catch y'all on the next video. Peace.